Hello, Alaskans! I am so glad to have you here today. We are in the office of Mike Widney, chairman of the Save the PFD organization, and he has a message for you guys today about the primary, the elections that are about ready to start tomorrow. Don't forget to like and share this away. People need to be able to hear the message that's going on. Mike, how you
Thank
doing?
you, sir. Pretty good. Thanks a lot. And thanks for doing this. Appreciate it. So we just want to do a quick video update here on what was going on. You may have noticed that we have endorsed 5 state house candidates for the upcoming tomorrow's elections, primary election. And out of the 5, 3 are being opposed by some really big money and some groups, outside groups. One's from Washington, D.C., and happen to know that a couple people on the board there are Karl Rove and Reince Priebus. You might have heard of them before, but we kind of consider them an establishment group, and we're really wondering why they're dumping tens of thousands of dollars into the Mat-Su Valley house races. That's a little weird, but it does sort of confirm to us that we've endorsed the right people. David Eastman, Chris Kirka, and L.D. Howard. These are people who can't be bought and paid for. These are people they can't control. I think, especially in the case of David Eastman, we have a proven track record here of a guy who is committed to the principles that matter to us at Save the PFD. And without a principled stand, you can't get anything done. I think that a lot of people realize now that without tough negotiations and being able to stand firm, all you get from the majority Republicans and the Democrats is a big middle finger, to use a crude term. But so not only is the Washington, D.C. group, but also Americans for Prosperity are backing our opponents, the opponents of these 3 endorsed candidates. And, of course, that's the Koch brothers organization, another big money group. The Koch brothers were billionaires. Only one of them still alive today. But, sometimes you'll find that we're on the same page as Republicans, and other times we're not. And big money tends to steer towards supporting other big money, and not the working class Republican that we represent. We represent really all Alaskans. We're fighting for all Alaskans PFDs. As Milton Friedman, the great conservative economist, said, the best use of the money that's generated from our resource sales and investments is a direct check to the people. That's the best use of the money for Alaskans' economy. And so we're on very solid conservative ground. But we're not a special interest group. We work for all Alaskans. Every Alaskan that's eligible gets a permanent fund dividend, and it helps the economy, and it helps people who really need the help during Alaska's long winters. It helps working class people build houses. It helps them put their kids through college. It's worked well for 35 years. So it's pretty disgusting and discouraging to see these outside groups backing our endorsed candidates who we thoroughly vetted and who we know personally. But in the case of David Eastman especially, it's a proven track record in the House of standing firm, sponsoring legislation for the PFD, supporting the governor's legislation for the permanent fund, the back pay, the whole 9 yards. We look at every single vote and every single opportunity where a state representative has an opportunity to advance the cause of the people. And I can say pretty confidently that David Eastman's the only one with a 100% track record. Everything, and I may have missed something, but everything that we're aware of that could have been done, should have been done to save your PFD was done by David Eastman. Now, that hasn't made him popular because when he's the one guy doing the right thing, it tends to expose the people who are doing cover votes, for example. Well, this group here is going to vote for it. We're going to, and they talk about it ahead of time. We're going to vote against it. It's not going to pass. But several representatives, and one admitted on Facebook that this person, representative, I won't mention their name, basically was for the other side. That in this case, we're talking about the reverse sweep from the CVR, the money that the legislators had control over, and without the votes, that money would have been stuck until, as such a time as we had hoped, the minority would negotiate at that point. But they used COVID as an excuse, where we're saying, no, COVID's the very reason you should have stood strong and firm and not voted for the reverse sweep until you got us something. And many people agree with us on that. That was a chance that was squandered, and some people that even voted for us only did it because they knew that it couldn't, that there were enough votes to allow the reverse sweep to happen. So I'm going to droning on here, but my bottom line is it's a real battle. And so it's unfortunate that there's very few fighters, and our goal is to send more fighters to join David Eastman in the House. And that's why we've endorsed not only David Eastman, District 10, but we've endorsed Christopher Kirk of District 7 and L.D. Howard of District 9. And these are people with track records as activists and as fighters, and I think a lot of people know that. And we've talked to them personally. They've answered our survey questions 100%. Correctly. They'll fight for a full statutory PFD, and they'll fight to get that enshrined in the Constitution. And they're not going to compromise and come away with nothing. You can't compromise when you don't have anything to compromise with. Unfortunately, our minority didn't have, because they wouldn't stand together and because they squandered the opportunities they have, they come to the negotiating table and they take nothing away. They bring us nothing, except more failure, which is 5 years of losing half your PFD and now 2/3 of your permanent fund dividend. Well, that's not a win in our book. We want our full PFDs. We want the back pay. And then let the people of Alaska speak and vote and say, what are we going to do about, we have a big budget and we only have this much money coming in. How are we going to fix it? Well, the easiest way was just to steal the permanent fund dividend. The court signed off on it. Legal scholars have suggested that it might not have possibly been a very good ruling. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. But we certainly, on a gut level, feel that after 35 years of precedent, it's pretty clear how things were supposed to work. And what the law said, that the money should have been automatically distributed to the people, was never supposed to be a part of the budget. That's another bad bill that got passed. And so, bottom line is, folks, is if we lose Eastman, if we don't get some new fresh blood with real fighters with a real warrior ethic, a sheepdog defender ethic, it's going to be very hard. It's pretty obvious. It's going to be hard to win. It's going to be hard to reverse what's happened. It's going to be hard to have fiscal conservatism win, because fiscal responsibility is tied to the permanent fund dividend. Jay Hammond, former Governor Jay Hammond, said, once they spend their share, they're coming for your share. And it's up to the Alaskans to be the militant ring to protect the fund from destruction by government overspending. So it's not just free money and we all just sit back. If we don't fight, we lose. And if we don't turn out the vote tomorrow, we lose. And rightfully so. That's how these things work. So I really appreciate your time. We will be doing some sign waving for our endorsed candidates. We encourage you to join us. Get out in District 9 to support L.D. Howard. Get out in District 7 to support Christopher Kirk. And, of course, join us in District 10 as we support Representative David Eastman. So thanks a lot. Thank you, Politidic. Greatly appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Mike. I really do appreciate you allowing me to do this quick interview and live show to everybody out there. For all of you just tuning in, tomorrow is August 18th, primary election day, the last day that you can cast your ballot, last day that you can mail out your absentee ballot. And you need to know and make sure your friends know by sharing this video far and wide to make sure that your fellow compatriots out there that are looking for actual lawmakers and not lawbreakers to arrive in Juneau this year to get out and vote. So share, share, share. As I always like to say, Facebook squeals on you if you don't share. So share away. You all have a great day, and thank you, Mike. Appreciate your time.